Jeremy Corbyn says warped and degrading Westminster culture has allowed sexual harassment to thrive for too long. MPs who engage in the abuse and sexual harassment of women must be held accountable for their actions, Jeremy Corbyn will warn. The Labour leader says a warped and degrading culture, where the abuse of women is accepted and normalised, is thriving in the quarters of power. His warning will come as it was reported that 4 MPs, including a minister, had been caught up in allegations of sexual misconduct at Westminster. The MPs, 2 Labour and 2 Conservative, have been accused of harassing or propositioning young women inappropriately, according to The Times. The Guardian also reported 4 MPs were involved in allegations of misconduct. It was not clear if the papers are referring to the same individuals. Downing Street has described allegations of abuse at Westminster as deeply concerning and warned any minister found to have behaved inappropriately would face serious action. The reports are very concerning, but I can't preempt allegations or investigations that haven't come to light yet, Theresa May's spokeswoman said. The Prime Minister was very clear when we responded to the reports about Harvey Weinstein in the last few weeks that any unwanted sexual behavior is completely unacceptable, and that is true in any walk of life, including politics. In a keynote speech, Mr. Corbyn will urge women who have suffered such abuse or harassment to report it to authorities, including, if appropriate, the police. The Labour leader has faced accusations that he was slow to act over misogynistic and homophobic comments by Labour MP Jared O'Mara, including a claim he called a constituent an ugly bitch, which he denies. In an address to the Unite Union's Scottish Policy Conference in Aviemore, Mr. Corbyn will say that Labour will not tolerate any form of discrimination or harassment. The problem doesn't stop with those who make unwanted advances on women. It extends to a culture that has tolerated abuse for far too long, he will say. It's a warped and degrading culture that also exists and thrives in the quarters of power, including in Westminster. According to The Times, one of the Labour MPs caught up in the allegations is alleged to have texted a work experience colleague, suggesting there would have been sexual contact had he been younger. Another Labour MP allegedly sent multiple inappropriate texts when drunk, including to a researcher in her early 20s, the paper said. The minister involved, who is married, is alleged to have made passes at several women, including journalists and aides, according to the paper. Another married Conservative MP was said to have had affairs with at least 2 young researchers in the past few years, the paper said. The Guardian reported there were allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior by a Conservative former minister, while a Labour MP was described as incredibly predatory. There were also said to be allegations of inappropriate behavior by a backbench MP during a trip abroad earlier this year, while an MP allegedly left a parliamentary delegation after claims about their conduct, the paper said. Meanwhile, it emerged that an attempt by the Parliamentary Standards Watchdog to extend the House of Commons Respect policy, which protects staff from harassment and bullying, to cover everyone working at the House had been blocked. In a letter to a friend of a woman who alleged she had been sexually assaulted, seen by the Daily Telegraph, the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards Catherine Hudson said it was not widely understood that it only covered staff directly employed by the House, and did not extend to MPS staff who they employ themselves. I made strong representations at the time for the policy to be extended to all those who work in the House, but this was not agreed, and it was restricted to House employees only, she wrote.